When Nikki Brown was born in the small town of Milford, she was swapped with another baby, a Grant. You heard that right. The nurses gave the wrong children to the parents. A day later, the doctors realized the mistake and returned each girl to the right family. But it was too late. The whole city and then the country had already heard about the funny story by then. The swapped babies ended up on the news. Nikki was only 2 days old, but she had already become a celebrity.
I'm one of those girls, Nikki Brown. Hi, this story is about me, but it was created for you. So please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to the Private Diary channel. The Grants quickly left Milford, and I was the only one who got all the attention. Each time my parents and I left the house, someone would exclaim, "It's that girl from the news!" Years went by, I turned 16. Everyone had long forgotten about that mix-up, but I still felt like the universe had set me apart from everyone else, like I was born to be a celebrity. I grew up in a small town. My mom was a housewife, always a bit tired, but with a sunny disposition. In the evening, she made cookies, watched medical dramas, and knit socks. Dad worked at an auto repair shop. He always had oil stains on his clothes and calluses on his hands, and he sincerely believed that his jokes were amazing.
You can call me Dr. Mechanic.
Why?
Because I woke Mr. Jenkins' car up after 2 years of a coma.
I adored my family, but my parents didn't understand me. I often watched the news reports from my childhood to remind myself I was special.
This is one of the babies that were swapped. Nikki Brown has become a symbol of destiny.
A symbol of destiny. Yes, that's me. I really wanted to be famous again, but I wasn't a star at school. The other students knew me by my name, but couldn't remember which class I was in. That's Toby, my best friend. He was a little clumsy, with fingers constantly covered in glue and eyes of a puppy that believed it would save the world with a puppet show.
Imagine if dolls could talk.
We'd be out of jobs. We put on puppet shows in a kindergarten. Toby made puppets out of old socks and cardboard. Well, I voiced them. I imagined I was performing on Broadway. The children shrieked, the teachers clapped, and Toby smiled. But I couldn't stop thinking that place wasn't for me. I belonged on the big stage. I had a morning ritual. I sang in the bathroom. All I had was my hair dryer or toothbrush. So what? I still shone like a star. Do you have any idea how big our water bills are? Mom, when I become famous, I will be able to pay all our bills, including the bill for your patients.
Oh, honey, you're daydreaming again.
We sat down to eat breakfast, toast, scrambled eggs, coffee. Everything was perfect until Mom said, "Our daughter seriously thinks she's going to be a star."
Nick, if you want to be famous, you should become the first female mechanic in the history of Milford.
Very funny, Dad. He's right, dear. You should pick a more realistic dream. I loved my parents, but sometimes it felt like they were living in a black and white movie while I was in a color one. Then, an expensive car pulled up to our house. A woman got out of it like the goddess of fashion herself descended to earth. Business suits, stilettos, perfectly styled hair, a hot coffee in her hands.
Hello, my name is Madeline Hayes. I'm a producer and a journalist from New York. May I come in? Can I get you anything? A piece of homemade cake, a coffee? Thank you, but I'm on a diet. I only drink coffee from the best coffee shop in town. So, what do we owe the pleasure?
Madeline smiled like even the oxygen she breathed was under her control and said she was making a documentary, Swapped Babies 16 years later.
I want to tell the story of the girls now that they're grown.
Wow! No, not wow. Last time we barely survived our sudden fame.
Who would even care about that after all these years anyway?
I would. This is my story. My parents protested for a long time, but eventually agreed to do it for me. Madeline smiled professionally and asked my parents to sign a contract. Soon, a filming crew arrived at our house and the magic began.
Act naturally. We want to film your typical day.
Mom tried to look calm, but she was so worried she forgot where her right hand was. Next, Madeline's team filmed my dad. He had cleaned the auto repair shop until it was spotless and even put on a white shirt, even though he never wore something like that to work, but soon he spilled a can of paint on himself anyway. After that, we moved on to my school. Madeline interviewed my teachers and classmates. I felt like I had become the biggest event at Milford. The next day, Madeline decided to film the puppet show Toby and I did. However, our performance turned into complete chaos. A puppet's head fell off, kids climbed onto the stage, Toby freaked out, forgot his line, and accidentally knocked down the partition.
This is gold. Make sure to film it.
I wanted to sink through the floor, but I straightened my back, took a deep breath, and kept performing all by myself. The children were soon laughing again. After the show, Madeline came up to me.
That was a disaster. But you did well, Nikki. You have the makings of a star.
Her words sounded like the password to the door behind which real life began. Madeline Hayes became my idol. I started to style my hair like her. I bought coffee to go and tried to talk like Miss Hayes too. If you want to be noticed, act like you're already on the cover of a magazine. You look beautiful, but this isn't really you, Nikki. I'm just trying to learn from a successful woman. I made your favorite cookies with funny faces. That's sweet, Mom. Some people are born to be stars, and some do the cooking. A week later, the crew had all the footage they needed, but Madeline said she wasn't done yet.
The other girl agreed to star in the documentary too. We have already filmed her part. Now I would like to bring you two into the studio for an interview about all that you have achieved.
I thought the movie would just be about me, but without the second girl, my story would not have happened at all, so I agreed. We went into the local TV studio to film the interview. When I saw the other girl, my jaw dropped. She had grown up to become a famous singer, Chloe Grant. Hello, everyone.
Hello, my little star.
Chloe burst in the studio like a flash of light. She was perfect and even had a personal makeup artist. She's long got used to being famous and acted naturally in front of the cameras. Compared to Chloe, I felt like a nobody. Nice to meet you, Nikki. It's so weird. We could have grown up in each other's families. I wonder how that would have turned out. Well, I guess if I hadn't been returned to my real parents, I could be recording an album by now. Chloe laughed, but I hadn't been joking. During the break, I locked myself in the dressing room. I was so angry. If the mistake hadn't been discovered, I would be living her life now. Chloe can't even sing. And now I'm stuck in this stupid Milford with my stupid parents. The peak of my career is the puppet show was in kindergarten, and Toby can't even remember his 3 lines. I felt ashamed and fell silent after that. I knew that wasn't true, that Toby was awesome, that Mom and Dad were amazing, that our city was the coziest in the world. A week later, Madeline Hayes got a new idea. She suggested that Chloe and I swap lives for a week for the movie climax, like recreate what happened when we were babies. My parents were naturally worried, but agreed again for my sake. And so Chloe moved into my house, and I moved into her spacious apartment in New York with panoramic windows and a jacuzzi. Chloe's assistant met me there. Welcome. The schedule is on the fridge. Does anyone else live here? No. Chloe's parents travel around the world and hardly ever come home. Don't be late for rehearsals tomorrow. So it was all mine for the whole week? Had I died and gone to heaven? Yay! Then I checked Chloe's schedule. It was quite busy. Yoga, tutors, interviews, rehearsals. I love that! In the evening, I went for a walk. For the first time in my life, I visited branded boutiques in New York and tried bubble tea. No one in Milford even heard of it. The only upsetting part was that Madeline's crew followed me around in a van wherever I went, but I hardly noticed them anymore. And then I saw a lost puppy in an alley. My parents always said our house was too small for a dog, but now I lived in Chloe's apartment, so I brought the puppy home. The next morning, I practiced choreography for Chloe's upcoming tour. Someone had to be a stand-in. After all, I tried on new outfits, sang, lay in the jacuzzi, and thought that I could live Chloe's life better than she did. But then, I got to know the other side of fame. On the 4th day, I woke up with a fever and called the producer. I think I'm sick. Could we reschedule the rehearsal?
That is not my problem. The dancers need to prepare for Chloe's tour. Get in the studio now.
I had to go and dance even though I could barely stand. That evening, things went from bad to worse. A guy rang the doorbell and he said he had a delivery for me. When I opened the door, he burst into the apartment.
Where's Chloe? Where's my love? I'm her #1 fan.
He turned out to be an obsessed fan. I was frozen with horror. horror. Luckily, my puppet came to the rescue and bit the guy's pant leg. Meanwhile, I called the cameraman who was in the van outside the house. He called the cops, and 10 minutes later, the psycho was arrested. I couldn't calm down after that. I was too scared to stay there alone. So I took the puppy and came down to Madeline's van. She was watching the footage they'd filmed and, of course, drinking coffee. The crazy fan is a godsend. We've got great footage. That's what I wanted to talk about. I'm scared. Could you come up with me? We could order a pizza and chat.
Nikki, everything has to look natural. Pretend we're not here.
But I'm all alone.
Get used to it. If you want to be a star, forget about family and friends. It's a weakness that strong women like me can't afford.
I nodded because I wanted to look strong, but I was feeling miserable. And then I saw the footage that had been filmed in my home on the monitor. Chloe was in it. She was making pies with my mom, laughing at my dad's jokes, and doing a puppet show with Toby. Her laughter was so sincere. She was clearly over the moon. I got mad at Chloe. Just being a superstar wasn't enough for her. She wanted to steal my life too. I went back to Chloe's apartment. I wanted to turn on some show and forget about everything. But then my puppy dived under the bed and pulled a diary out from under it. It was Chloe's private diary. I should respect her personal boundaries. But since we swapped lives for a while, I have the right to a little additional content, don't I? I opened the diary and Chloe's world suddenly stopped seeming quite so dazzling to me. The pages were filled with shaky handwriting. Each line was full of misery. Chloe wrote about feeling lonely, about her parents only seeing her as a source of money and not being able to make any real friends. That flawless girl with the perfect smile turned out to be a normal person who got scared just like everyone else. I'm sorry, Chloe. I didn't know. Soon, the week came to an end, and I went back to my world where Mom smelled of cinnamon, Dad of motor oil, and Toby of enthusiasm and glue. I wanted to give something to Chloe, but she left for work before I arrived. Well, did you like being a star, Nikki? It was great. I totally recommend it. I put on a confident smile and I didn't tell my parents how much I missed home and the comfort that no jacuzzi could replace. A month passed. The documentary was finally ready. I set up a small cinema in our backyard for the premiere. I invited my parents, Toby, and all our neighbors to watch it. Even Chloe came. The start of the movie was very touching. Footage of us as babies, music, interviews. Everyone got emotional. But after 5 minutes, I realized that something wasn't right. Next came the scene of me sitting in the dressing room with the TV studio and getting angry. I hadn't known I was being filmed.
But is Nikki happy with her fate? Here is what she thinks about her life.
Chloe can't even sing. And now I'm stuck in this stupid Milford with my stupid parents. The peak of my career is the puppet shows in kindergarten. And Toby can't even remember his 3 lines. Mom turned pale as flour. Chloe ran off to her car, offended. Toby looked at me with disappointment. Our neighbor started to whisper and Dad turned off the projector.
I think we've seen enough.
They twisted my words. I just lost my temper. I don't really think that way. But no one was listening to me anymore. I ran to my room and called Madeline. You cut out all the good bits. Why did you do that?
The truth does not sell. People want scandals. That's a lesson for you. If you want success, be cynical.
You ruined my life.
Welcome to the industry, Nikki.
Something else was born inside me. The need to tell the truth. I stopped imitating Madeline and decided to make a documentary of my own. This is my mother. She's the best. I'm ashamed for myself for forgetting that. Mom is my real idol. And that's my dad. He doesn't save the world, but he saves cars. Dad does everything to take care of his family. I love him. And this is Toby, my best friend in the whole world. The puppet theater might not save the world, but the kindness of people like Toby will. Then I walked around Milford and tried to show what a wonderful town it was. I didn't appreciate all this before, but after walking in Chloe's shoes, I realized that I wouldn't want any other life. I posted the video on YouTube without editing or using filters. In a couple of days, all my neighbors and even my parents had watched the video. They forgave me. We love you too, Nikki. All my friends and classmates wrote supporting comments. Only Toby stayed silent. I guess I hurt him too much. Forgive Nikki. She made a mistake. She's very sorry. sorry. Toby's puppet suddenly came alive and played along.
Toby appreciates Nikki's sincerity. He's ready to forgive the past.
We both couldn't help but laugh. I only have one mistake left to fix now. Chloe, hi, this is Nikki.
What do you want?
I'm sorry for calling you talentless. I was just jealous. It wasn't until I was in your shoes that I realized the price of your success. Open the door. I have a gift for you. He needs a home, and you need a friend and a protector. What a cutie! What's his name? He's yours, so you should come up with the name yourself. Then I'll just call him Buddy. You should come over. Now you have a second family. I'll come after the tour. When I returned home, I saw that my video had already been watched several thousand times. I was born famous by accident, but I decided to live by my own rules. Truth can be powerful too, and those who believe you need to choose between success and family are just idiots.